And welcome back, everybody, to the Podcaster Nation. That's right. I said welcome back because I know you were just listening to our stuff and you came back because you wanted more. That was an absolutely brilliant decision because we have a lot more for you. Why do we have so much more for you? Because this is the podcast. It's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. And our guest today, amongst other things, is wait for it, a podcaster. That's right. You guys cracked the code. You are brilliant. Folks, this is the place that we come together to raise each other up. And this is the place where the rising tide raises all ships. So let's get sailing and bring in our guest today. Please welcome the host of the Divinely Human podcast, the author of the soon to be released book, Return to Remember, which I can't wait to hear more about, licensed therapist, spiritual channel, and viral healer. Please welcome Sarah Asha Rose to the show. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Oh boy, better than I deserve. So I
Yay.
absolutely love it. Sarah, I can't wait to hear more about all this. Before we jump into everything, give everybody an idea. Who is Sarah Asha Rose, and what brought you into this world that you're in?
Hi. Well, it's so nice to connect to everyone. So I am what you would call a channeler, a energy healer, sound healer, spiritual guide, and yes, I'm a therapist as well. I wasn't always a therapist. I had a spiritual awakening when I was about 33. I was in a very low point in my life. Um, Divorced, single mom, really questioning who I was. And I started exploring meditation and energy healing. And I just discovered gifts that really blew me wide open, the ability to see, hear, feel, and connect to a realm beyond this one. And when I was about 33, 34, I started trance channeling and I gained a sort of following here on Long Island. And then I wanted more. I wanted to have a career. I went back to school to become a therapist. Um, COVID happened. I had a following. I lost that following. I launched myself online as a healer and a channeler. I had a viral video doing a light language healing. It kind of blew me away because I had always done sound healing just for myself and others in my small world. And when it got the attention of a lot of people, I started to think, wow, there's really something more to this than I realized. And then that really led me to be a coach, online coach, and kind of combine the spiritual and the psychological piece. And really, I'm just here to help people remember the truth of who they are and to connect to the unseen, um, beyond the illusion of the physical world, and the guidance that's there for us in that, if that makes sense. I know that was all a lot.
No, I love it, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but your voice is amazing for this. I mean, I can
Yeah.
actually feel some of my anxiety going away just by listening to
Ooh,
your voice right now. It's absolutely phenomenal.
that's
Um,
wonderful.
I can see how you do what you do as well as you do it.
Thank
So
you.
very cool. I definitely want to hear more about, what it is you do. Let me real quick because it's not out yet, so we can only say so much about it. But the book is on its way, and it's called Return to Remember. What I
Yeah.
do know a little bit about it, just from having spoken to you briefly, is that it's a little bit based on your journey. Is
Yes.
that right? Give us a little idea
Yes.
of what to expect when the book does come out.
Sure. So it's half memoir, half channel transmission. And it follows my journey from being a shy, introverted person full of doubt and insecurity to being thrust in the spotlight of being a guru um, and sort of divine channel. Um, and it shows the human journey of being a channel, connecting to ascended masters and light beings and all these things, while at the same time being a human and still doubting it and still having fears and still having resistance and still wondering and what's the purpose of all this. So it tells my human story alongside the channeled wisdom that was coming through me at the time, and a sort of guide to help people remember who they are, return to remember who they are, that they are enough the way that they are, in the same fashion that I discovered that I was enough. So you're kind of coming with me on the journey. And really, I feel like there's so many channeled books that share wisdom and channeled information, but rarely do you get what was happening to the person that was channeling that. What was going through their mind? How did they receive that information? So when I first started getting the writing, I was guided by spirit to share my journey as well, because I felt that it was important to sort of mirror the insecurities, the fears that we all have, to sort of be that mirror for people, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I love it. So let's get into a little bit of the nitty gritty here. So you are a channeler, a spiritual
Yes.
channel. Am I saying it
Yes, I
right?
can explain more of what that means if you want.
Would love to. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, because I say these things casually, like everybody knows what this is, because this is my life, right? So, oftentimes when you are in something, you assume everybody knows. Um, so, what is channeling, right? The best way I can describe it, I mean, many people know what mediumship is, right? I think a lot of people are aware of what being a medium is, right? You're
Hmm.
communicating with deceased loved ones beyond. And a medium will get the information in a variety of ways, right? They'll get it clairaudient, they'll hear it, they could get it clairvoyantly, they could see it, they can feel, they can know. So all of their psychic senses are working all at once so that they can be the bridge, right? So that they can channel the information. So essentially, trance mediumship or trance channeling is another form of that. So instead of me channeling grandma or grandpa or cousin Eddie or whatever, I'm connecting to either my higher self, right? Or divine beings of light, um, spiritual beings, my own guides that I work with, or ascended masters. Essentially, beings that are here to help us on our own ascension journey, right? And I have a sort of sole purpose in doing that, right? I was in agreement before I came on this planet that I would do that work. So, because of that, I'm able to merge. So, when I channel, I allow myself to sort of like my Sarah self, my ego, to take the back seat. And I allow for this higher guidance to come in. And sometimes when people are unsure of what channeling is, the best way I describe it is, have you ever had a conversation with a friend, they're in need, and somehow you just start saying these things that come pouring out of you? You tell them it's going to be okay, you reassure them, and they ask you, well, how do you know? How do you know all this? And you're like, I don't know, I just know. How do I know? I don't know, I just know. Did you ever That's the easiest way to explain. Did you ever just know something without knowing why you know it? Well, that's a form of channeling. You're
Nice.
actually connecting to your higher power. And so the way I do it is a lot more visceral because I'm allowing for spirit to merge with me. So my personality changes, my mannerisms change, um, my voice changes a little bit, but really I'm blending with whatever energy is coming through me. I hope this all makes sense.
You're doing great. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I mentioned to you before, I have a little bit of a background in this because, my wife,
Oh,
has taught me so much, but I
okay.
also am
Great.
always cognizant of our listeners that they may not know
Yeah,
even the little bit that I know. So I just want to make
sure.
sure we're explaining this stuff to them. And I
Sure.
appreciate you, kind of going to such great lengths to do that. But
I always want to do that. It's so important because even when I would channel sometimes, whatever I'm channeling, they want people to feel comfortable. So even if there's one person who doesn't feel comfortable, I think it's important to make them feel comfortable.
sure. So you said you weren't always a therapist.
Nope. Wasn't
So
always a therapist.
what
Wasn't born a therapist. Wasn't out of the womb counseling people. Yeah.
what made you go that direction, and how does that play with the energy work and everything else that you're doing?
Yeah, that's such a great question. It's funny. So I said I had this awakening when I was about 33. And then I started channeling, and I guess I wanted a career. So, when the gift exploded, right before that, actually, I had made the decision to go back for my master's. So I made the decision, and then the channeling kind of came online. And I always was like, that's really interesting because I feel like if the channeling happened before, I might not have made the decision to go back to school
Mm,
because I would have thought, oh, this is my path and I'll just do this. But it kind of made me think, well, you know what? I think there's a reason why. Um, Obviously, I feel like I know my purpose was here to help people in varying degrees, but I wanted something stable. I wanted a career. And then after I graduated, I really realized, especially after COVID, I really realized that it was so important to have both because as I became more visible, I almost felt that people would find me more credible. That makes sense.
sure.
Trust me more, you know, that there was a reason why I was guided to go back to school because I feel like I'm here to help as many people as possible, not just the people in the spiritual camp, which is great, but also the people who are maybe like, I'm not sure, like the people who question.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Now, from what I know of therapists and, the education that goes into that, the training, the rules, that type of thing, how much
Yeah.
overlap are you allowed, with the various
Yeah.
disciplines that you practice?
Yeah. So I think I'm in a private practice right now, and it's not my own practice, right? So I can't really totally be embodying everything I would do. In the period of time after COVID, I stopped the social work I was doing, and I was doing more online spiritual coaching. So in that space, I could do channeling and sound healing and all that. But when I made the decision to go back to social work, I kind of knew that it was going to be in the context of that, which I'm okay with, because I think that there are I meet people where they're at. So if people are open to it, I will integrate some ideas, but if people aren't, I will keep it in the context of, social work. But like I just had a client, he was like, I don't inner child, I don't buy all that. Like, and I explained it to him from a psychological perspective that we all have a subconscious mind and we all were feeling as children. We didn't have the ability to intellectualize yet. So we absorb things as we a child. And that's essentially what your inner child is, the part of you that could yet wasn't able to intellectualize. He's like, wow, that I could I could get on board with that, you know. So I feel like I have the ability to meet people where they're at and sort of take complex spiritual, obscure or hard to understand information and make it in a very relatable, applicable way. Because essentially, I think, you know, to me, that they bridge the two kind of meet, you know.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Hmm. All
Does that
right.
make sense?
It does. Yeah. I just, like I said, it just was curious to me because, I can see where some people would be sort of, okay with this, and some people haven't learned about it yet. Maybe they're not okay with it. And so I just wondered how it all blended together.
Yeah.
But, guys in general, men for sure, we really have an issue with the inner child thing. It just doesn't work for us. So I understand you probably read
Yeah.
as soon as you said inner child and then you said he, I went, oh, that makes sense. Because we don't handle that well for some reason.
Yeah. I think also what he shared with me, though, he said that I said, why does it trigger? Because he said that triggers me, that word inner child. And he said, I associate it with, those Instagram like woo woo people that talk about chakras and stuff. And in my head, I was like, oh, that could be me potentially, And I kind of joked with him. I kind of said that, I was like, oh, that's me. Um, but I said, you don't have to believe in all of that, you know? I said, essentially, um, any kind of work we do here is helping you become more of yourself, helping you shed light on all of the things that, that sort of got in the way of that,
Hmm.
right? And however we do that, doesn't matter how we do that. That's the purpose. It's helping you be a more whole person, right? And so if you do it through psychology, you do it through spirituality, it's all the same thing, really. When you really get down to it, you're helping people, guiding them home to themselves,
Nice. So
you know.
one thing that you had on
So
your
that's
bio,
kind of how I explained it to him.
yeah, one thing that you had
Yes.
on your bio that was brand new to me was the sound healing.
Yes,
So
sure.
what, yeah, what can you tell everybody about
Want me to
that?
talk about
Yeah.
that? Yeah, sure. So, sound, right, is energy, right? So you listen to music, makes you feel, right? What's your favorite music? What's your favorite genre of music?
Country and Western.
Okay. So how does it make you feel when you listen to it? Relaxed, happy?
Sure. Yeah, all the above.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. So if you were to listen, what's your least favorite type of music?
Hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hip hop. Some people, right? Some people might say heavy metal. Other people might love heavy metal, right? Um, but really music makes you feel, right?
Mhm.
When you listen to music, it makes you feel. How does it do that, right? It sounds, right? It's not when I talk to you and I say hello, right? You're intellectualized, you're trying to understand the meaning, right? Music, you just listen, you feel. You don't try to really understand unless you can't understand the lyrics and then you're trying to hear it, right? But if you listen to classical music, let's say, do you like any classical music like Mozart or,
Absolutely.
yeah, if you listen to classical music, it's going to make you feel. Or think about soundtracks in a movie like if there's like a thriller scene like da, 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 it's like oh, it makes you feel like think about the music in Jaws, right? Like oh my god, you know
Yeah. That's
really
rough.
puts you on edge, right? So sound, right, emits a frequency, and frequency is, you know, how we operate, right? Thoughts emit a frequency. Everything is energy.
Hmm.
Everything emits a frequency, right? So sound healing is great because it bypasses the logical mind, right? So in therapy, like talk therapy is one thing, right? That takes a long time, to get you to go back to certain times in your life and get you to understand things, right? Sound healing bypasses all of that and just goes to the frequency, right? It goes to, so there's the belief that we store trauma in our body, right? That we store negative energy in our body, right? With our thoughts and things that accumulate over time. So sound healing goes to that and clears that on a frequency level, not an intellectual level,
Hmm.
right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm thinking of all the times I've listened to my music, and how it does actually make me feel a little bit better and why. I never really put those two things together. I just turn on the music
Yeah.
and
So
there
like
you go.
if I played a melody like Mozart and we listened to it, you'd be like, yeah, this feels good.
Hmm.
But if I made some noise that was like like discordant, you'd be like, oh, I don't like that, right?
Right.
So it's important to pay attention to the sounds that really jar you. Um, I don't know if you've ever heard of the solfeggio frequencies.
No.
So there's these, I think they're based on monks chanting, the sounds that monks chant. They're called solfeggio tones. And I think each one of them, I don't know if they connect to a different chakra, but they're purposeful for healing, the different solfeggio tones. And somebody once told me a long time ago, if you listen to the ones that really, if there's any tone that feels uncomfortable for you, it means it's healing something inside of you.
Really?
So if it makes you uncomfortable, yes, it means that it's striking a chord. It's uncomfortable. So what is that all about? The same way, like if someone says something to you like you're a jerk, right? It's only going to feel uncomfortable to you if there's some part of you that believes that you're a jerk, right?
Hmm. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If someone says, Sarah, you're a jerk, I'm like, oh, okay. I know I'm not a jerk. So that's just a silly example. But there's no part, but if someone says, Sarah, you're not good with money, I'd be like, because sometimes that's true. Whatever it is, you know, you're going to attach to the things that are inside of you that you've yet to look at or heal or things that you're uncomfortable with.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So
Yeah.
when you say the sound makes me uncomfortable, we're not just talking about music that I don't like, right? Or are we?
Right. We're talking about like sound healing. Like if I were to do if I were to channel some frequencies and tones, and you were to say, ooh, like that feels weird,
Oh, I see.
I
Okay.
would say, okay, let's pay attention to that. Why does that feel weird? Like there are sometimes, but with music too, like there's certain hip hop that I'll listen to that I'm like, ooh, I don't like 90s rap. I love the music now. I'm like the hip hop now. There's something about the frequency I really don't like.
Yeah.
And as an energetic, sensitive person, I could be like, I don't like that frequency. I just don't like it. But with sound healing, if I were to channel some sounds or ring some bells and you were to say to me, ooh, I would say, let's pay attention to that. Like, what do you feel? What are you feeling? I feel this. I feel that. Okay, where do you feel that in your body? I feel it in my throat. Okay, what does it feel like? It feels like spikes. Okay, like what's the emotion connected to those spikes? Uh, Not being able to speak my truth. Okay, when was a time in your life you can speak your truth? When my dad yelled at me and, when I was 6 and oh, okay, well, let's clear that. Does this
Wow.
make sense?
Yeah, it's fascinating actually. I mean, I'm sitting here going, "Oh my goodness." All right. So, woof. Yeah, when I
Yeah.
come into these podcasts, I really make a huge attempt to come in with an open mind all the time, with anybody, no matter who I'm talking to. But this is, hitting home on a lot of ways, and I'm thinking of all these different things going, well, that kind of makes sense then. All right, that's how that
Okay.
happened. Yeah, and then you get a little uncomfortable, like, wait a minute. Well,
Yeah. Why are
let's,
we
yeah, why
why
am
are
I uncomfortable with all this
we
stuff?
uncomfortable? Where does that come from? Yeah, where does that come from?
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the stuff that you do for folks is some sound healing, the licensed therapy part, the spiritual channeling. This is what
Yes.
Sarah does.
Sarah does a lot of things. Sarah's very so, my creativity is a big part of who I am too. So channeling, singing, sound healing, writing, it's all it's just all an expression of divine, and I think because I'm here to help people and that's my purpose, whatever means possible, whatever comes out of me, writing, singing, sharing, talking. And I really feel like my voice is, a big part of what I do, you know, my one of my biggest gifts,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
would imagine. Absolutely. No, I could definitely see you getting through a bunch of barriers with that voice of yours. So I totally understand. I
Thank you.
gotcha. Okay, the so that's what you do. Now you've mentioned coaching a couple of times. So is the
Yeah.
coaching something that you do in concert with the therapy? Are they separate um, activities for like different types of
Yeah, I
folks? How do
used
you balance
to.
that?
I used to. I stopped the coaching when I decided to go back for social work.
I
Yeah, it was
see.
too much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm more focused on, writing, and speaking. I want to I like to go on podcasts and speak. I want to be able to go on stages and speak as well. When my book comes out, I want to share that. And, you know, coaching, I did it for 5 years. I feel like I was burned out with that.
I understand.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
coach podcasters and speakers both, so I understand exactly what you mean. At some point, I'm
Oh,
sure I'll be burned out and be sitting
okay.
on a hill someplace, just staring at the sky. But for right now, it's definitely in my circle. It's what I have been called to do. So,
I'll
but I
definitely
understand.
probably do it again at one point. Um, but yeah, at various times, like I did one-on-one sessions where I would do, yeah, sound healing sessions, channeling sessions. I was coaching other spiritual people on how to, a lot of spiritual people like me, um, we have fear of being seen and judged by other people.
Oh, okay.
So I was coaching a lot of people on letting go of the fear of judgment. If you have a message to share and you feel like you're here to help the world, but you feel like people are going to call you crazy and judge you and, label you. And especially when you're sharing gifts like channeling and sharing gifts that aren't necessarily understood by everyone. A lot of people like me, I suppose, have fear of being, persecuted. So I helped a lot of people with that and in their own spiritual business as well. Yeah.
Nice. I can understand that too. So, all
Yeah.
right. So with everything that you do and all these talents that you have, you decided to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. What made you take your talents to the podcast, and what's the purpose of the podcast to you?
Yeah. So it's funny because in the winter, people have always commented on my voice. And in the winter, somebody was like, you should try like doing voice acting and reading audio books.
Mhm.
And I did, but the work was very hard to get. It was very slow going, and it was a lot of work for very little pay,
Sure.
the jobs that I was getting. But the good thing that came out of that was I was like, huh, why don't I just start a podcast? I mean, like, why don't I share my own wisdom? I have so many writings, I have so much channeled information, I have so much to share. And people are always telling me how much they love my voice. Why don't I just read, some of my wisdom, like show up once a week, take a channel bit of wisdom, follow the same format of my book, which is talking about the divine, reading the divine, and then talking about the human part
Mhm.
of how to apply this to your life. Why don't I just do this like as a podcast? Um, Instead of trying to get work as, like a reading audiobooks. you know. So that was the
Absolutely.
good thing. That was the good thing that came out of that. And then I did. And I just it wasn't hard to do because I have so many writings. So every week I would just pick a writing that I have, and that would be the theme. Like, let's say I have a writing on stillness, and and why stillness is important, and I would read that. And then the next part of the podcast would be, okay, well, how do we be still? Sort of teaching. How do you apply this to your life? And then sometimes I'll include like a little meditation or a little visualization, a little practice. And sometimes I'll throw in a little sound healing too.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, and then you put it out there and then you're like, see if anyone listens. you know?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes. No, that's definitely how you do it, but we need to talk. You don't just put it out there and see if somebody listens. The podcasting coach in me just almost freaked out. So
This is new for me. I've only been doing it for like 2 months.
I was going to say,
So
it looks like it's a relatively new venture, but
it's
you're
very
doing
new.
great with it. Yeah. How do you like it so far?
Yeah. I like it, but sometimes I feel like I'm like it's like a drop in a bucket. Like no one's like I don't know if people are paying attention.
Sure.
You're paying attention. You found me. I've had like so what I was doing was I have an email list, so I was sharing an episode a week on the email list.
Hmm.
And I had somebody working for me, and she was making clips, and I was putting that on my social media channel because I have a nice size following. So I got some feedback here and there. Um, but I've only been doing it for 2 months. So,
Right.
it's still new. I don't know, I'm just at this point, I'm not doing it for anything but for my own pleasure, if that makes sense.
It does. That's perfectly good reason to do a podcast, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just trying not to have expectations,
Mm,
and just and enjoy it and know that I'm helping people and know that I'm enjoying it. And then that's kind of what I meant by throwing it out there. Just not trying to attach too much meaning to it,
sure.
just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed from listening to your episodes that it does sound like you're reading into the podcast. That's what you do, is you read something that's already prepared, right?
Yeah. I do. Yeah. So I take a little bit of something that I've already written. I'll
Okay.
read it, I share it, and then I'll kind of talk about it and comment on it. Um, and then, sometimes I'll have a meditation that I guide people through. So it's a little bit of both. It's like reading and then also like talking. Um, and they're not very long. They're about like 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes the most. Just enough for somebody to like catch hold of every week, not a huge time commitment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Does it make it more comfortable doing the solo episodes for you that you're reading as opposed to trying to, talk?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. It's a great way to
Yeah.
get used to it too, is to kind of have that
Oh, is
safety
it?
blanket. Yeah.
Yeah, because I can just go in the recording booth and then, know that it's there. Um, I don't know. Do you think it sounds too, I don't know, does it sound too robotic?
Oh no, not at all. No, no,
Okay,
I've been
good.
listening to episodes though most of, for years and years. So it's you can kind of
Okay.
tell, but there's
You're
nothing wrong with it.
trained.
It's what you're
Your
doing.
ear is trained.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, mine is a solo podcast, right? So
Right.
yeah. So it's just really to share all the wisdom that I've accumulated, like to get it out there.
Gotcha. Are you thinking about doing interviews on the podcast at all, or is it your intent to keep it a solo operation and just keep putting out your own words?
Yeah, I did try doing that years ago, like interviewing people
Mhm.
on I would do it on a YouTube live and we would do it live. Um and I didn't enjoy it as much. I know it sounds terrible. I
Not
sound
at
like such a
all.
narcissist. Um I didn't enjoy it as much. I was like, okay, this is promotion for them. That's what it felt like. Because it was just, I don't know. And I just felt like I wanted to share my channeled wisdom. Like I just felt like I wanted a platform for that.
Sure.
Yeah. And also what I've been thinking about too is after, I think after my book is published, I'd like to share little clips from the book as well, you know,
Absolutely.
sort of have a like a lead into that. Yeah.
Cool.
But it's really, I don't know, it's the beginning of the journey, kind of.
Yeah. I love it. There's no wrong way to podcast, honestly. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're just being very honest with yourself and with us here today. So that's really cool.
Yeah. I'm just kind of riding the waves.
So you put out video
Yeah.
episodes too on YouTube?
Yeah, so I don't film myself. So what she does is we take the audio and then she'll put like a, B-roll or,
Right.
still love me or whatever. I have thought about um doing like recorded like this.
Hmm.
I think I might eventually do that because I don't know, it seems like there is, I don't know, more engagement with that maybe than just the audio. I don't know.
There can
Could
be.
be. Yeah,
Yeah, there
could
can
be.
be. So, everybody engages with their own audience in a different way. And so,
Yeah.
your listeners are going to, click with you either visually or in audio, one over the other. And most folks I have found have one that works better for them.
Okay.
Yeah, and it really depends on
Yeah.
them. It depends on them and
Yeah.
how they come across. So it's
Yeah.
not
A
like it's
part of
always video
me,
or something. So
yeah, a part of me likes the audio because I don't have to like get dressed up. I could just be like in my, I don't have to worry about a set and lighting and this, and I could just go and, um, but I was on my YouTube channel like a couple of years ago. I was making consistent like video content.
mhm,
I was doing like a channeled message for every week with light language and sound healing and this. And then it just got to be too much, you know?
absolutely. Well, I understand that too. From my first year, the only thing that I did visually was my interview episodes. And so my interview episodes, I would make sure that I, comb my hair, look somewhat presentable. And
Yeah.
but the audio ones, I mean, hat on backwards,
Yeah, you can
holes in the
relax.
t-shirt. Yeah, and it didn't matter
Yeah.
what was going on
Yeah.
right then.
You can
So
just
yeah,
relax.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, I totally get it. Have you found in the short period of time you've been doing this that there's a way of promoting it that works a little better than others, or is it still too new?
I think it's still too new. I haven't really, yeah, I haven't really found that. Um, she made like little clips that we'll share on
Hmm.
Instagram. I don't get too much feedback on them. Um, it's funny. To be honest, I haven't got too much feedback on it. Rather, they're just maybe like, "Oh, thank you for sharing," you know. But recently, I reconnected with a cousin that I haven't seen since I was like 9 or 8, like a second cousin. And he's been listening to my pod. He's also like a coach, he's a career coach. And, he has really a great story too. But he's been listening and he's like, oh my God, they're so good. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Because I was starting to doubt myself. We're human,
Sure.
you know. So he's like, I love your teaching style. I love, some of the things that you share. They're very visual. They help me, you know, um, can definitely continue doing it because I have someone help me edit them and it's not cheap. And I'm like, should I even continue to do this?
Right.
Just to be honest, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what works yet. Um, I think that maybe I was meant to have this conversation with you. I don't know.
Well, more than likely that's true. So I love that. I really do. I love that you're
Yeah.
you're open to thinking about how everything works that way. Um, Let me ask you this. I ask everybody this question, and so even though it's been a short period of time, let me ask you, in terms of doing your podcast, what is it about
Mhm.
doing your podcast that you love the most, and what is it about doing your podcast that you just really hate the most?
Yeah. Well, the hate the most, I'm sure it's the promotion, but people probably always say that, right?
It's one of the top two.
Yeah. Like how to get it out there. You're like, I really can't be bothered. I'm like, I've given up on all of that stuff. Because like I said, there's a part of me that's burned out with all of that. Like I used to do coaching and a lot of promotion and this, and I used to regularly post on Instagram like every week, every day, every day, every day. And then I took a break and really had to go within. So a part of me is just that's why I'm like, just release it. Who cares? Like I don't the
I
part that
understand.
yeah, that's the promotion. It's how to get it out there. It's, all of that. And then the monetization part, like, is that I don't know anything about that, you know. I don't even, yeah, I've heard about that. I don't know how that works. Um,
Okay. All right. We'll come back to that later, but
and
okay.
I don't know if that's something I'd even want. Yeah, I don't know. Um, but I know my potential and I know what I have to share and I know that it could be if I wanted it to be. But I have so many little pots cooking, a lot of pots cooking. So, what do I love about it? Um, that I get to share, that I get to share my wisdom, that I get to share my voice, that I get to make people, inspire people, that I could possibly be comforting for someone, that they could hear my voice and be like, oh, like that's what lights me up, that I could be that for someone and that what I have to offer could be that for someone. Um, and that's really behind everything that I do, even when I don't see the results, right?
Right.
That's what keeps me going. It's that's what really drives me. That I couldn't be any other way. Like even if I went down some other career path, I think I'd always go back to what I'm doing because it's just who I am. I can't not do it, you know?
Wonderful. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. They're great answers. And yeah, if we did it Family Feud style, top five answers on the board, promotion is usually number two, and editing is usually number one. But
Oh, editing. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I can be
those are
bothered.
usually the top two answers when we ask that question. So I totally
Yeah.
understand. Okay. The book is coming very soon. And so any idea
Mhm.
when? You want to give us a hint, or is that still to be decided?
Still to be decided.
Oh, I thought I was going to get a
Yeah.
commitment right there. No, okay. All right, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. All right, let's do this. First, before we wrap up, let me make sure that everybody knows how to reach you. So, what's the best way to contact you, hear your podcast? Maybe it's a website, that type of thing. Because I know you have a free
Yeah.
offer also that you want to talk to folks about.
Yeah. So if you go to sarah-asharose.com, everything's there. So you can get my 5-day activation, and then you'll subscribe to my newsletter when you get that. And then I do send podcast episodes there. You can also go to Sarah Asher Rose. I think it's Sarah Asher Rose on YouTube, and I share episodes there. It's also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Divinely Human, the Divinely Human podcast. But if you go to my website, all the links are there. So
There you go.
the easiest way to find everything. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, I'll make sure those links are in the show notes, so no problem.
Okay.
Um, As we kind of head out, the normally what I ask folks is this question. So I'm going to put it to you in two parts. Are you ready? Got your seatbelt
Sure.
on? You all set? All right.
I'm all set.
Normally I ask folks, what is your best piece of advice for podcasters who are not quite where you are? And since you're fairly new, I'll leave that with you that that's an option, and or if you don't want to get into advice, then what's a parting thought for the folks who are listening about what you do or about what might be good for them? What's spirit leading you to
Yeah.
say right now?
So I think I have an answer to both, and it's kind of the same answer.
Okay.
Um, be fully present in this moment with whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're podcasting, right, be present with what you're doing in that moment instead of worrying about how it should be or what's going to become of it, or just be really enjoy, be present with what you're doing. And really that's my parting wisdom too, because I was really feeling into this today for myself and just for the collective. We're always so focused on what we don't have yet, what we've yet to do, what we've yet to accomplish. And when we get wrapped up in that, it's not a great place to be because it feels that everything's missing. But when you slow down instead of trying to like get somewhere all of the time, you know, and you just stay in the moment with where you are, there's a lot there's a lot of wisdom there, you know. It's almost fall, right? Almost. We're almost in fall. Be where we are. Be here right now. Don't be looking for Christmas and looking for the winter. Don't be thinking about how you missed the summer, right? Be here, be present. Because when we really let go and we're present in the moment, there's so much more opportunity. Things are clearer, we relax, we know the action to take in our life instead of being confused, when you really drop down into the present moment. So that's probably true with podcasting, right? Be present. And that's just good advice in general, right? For everyone.
Absolutely.
Be present, be here, be now, be still.
Fantastic advice for anybody doing anything. That's absolutely great advice. So I love that. But it certainly applies to podcasting. You are correct.
Sure. Any creative endeavor, right? Podcasting,
Absolutely.
writing, slow down. It'll happen. Be here, be now, you know.
Love it. Love it. Love your spirit. Love your energy. Love everything that you're doing over here.
Yeah.
You're helping all sorts of folks in many different ways. You got a book coming out, which I cannot wait to check out when we see it.
Yay.
And, I enjoy your podcast. So don't stop doing it. Keep doing it and see where it
Okay.
takes you. All right. Just make
Okay.
sure. Keep doing it, see where it takes you, and keep having fun with it. So,
Thank you.
um, the host of the Divinely Human podcast and the author of the soon to be released book, Return to Remember, Sarah Asha Rose. Sarah, thank you for being with us today and for sharing all of these things and yourself with everybody
Thank
who's
you.
listening because it's been really amazing. Thank you for being on.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Folks, this has been another fantastic episode of the Podcaster Nation. The reason we get these fantastic podcasters on here is because this is the podcast. It's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. This is the place where the rising tide truly raises all ships. So keep sailing.